Hello and welcome back to our Community Connections segment. My name is Karen Utley and I'm the Community Engagement Director for Washington Township. And if you're first time joining us, the purpose of these Community Connections segments are to just raise awareness to the residents in our greater Avon community about programs, events, fundraisers, and things that you and your family might be interested in taking part in. So I have a special guest on with me today, and let me go ahead and bring him on screen. This is Brian Nugent. He is the Deputy Chief of Police from the Avon Police Department. And he was actually on a few months ago, and we were chatting all about their upcoming hiring process. Well, he's back on here today to chat again about the hiring process. So, Brian, why don't you just tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so right now it's kind of an unprecedented time in our profession. We had done a hiring process back in August and September of last year. We had a very ambitious goal to find 5 candidates for our department. We're seeing this across the state, across the country right now. A lot of mass exodus when it comes to retirements, people getting out of their career, but those are also opportunities for more people to be a part of that. So unfortunately, we were not able to fill all 5 of our positions from our last process. And so as we sit here today, we currently have 3 positions to fill with a possibility of having 2 additionals, separations, retirements, things like that are kind of pending right now. And so there's a chance that we could hire again another 5 individuals from this hiring process. So we're just trying to spread word, make sure people understand what the job entails, what the benefit packages are, what's our hiring process look like, because it's a difficult time to find good qualified candidates.
Right. Well, I guess so. Speaking of qualified candidates, I know you sent me something I could pull up here on screen.
Absolutely.
So, what exactly are, kind of those minimum qualifications that someone would need to have?
Yeah, so this graphic here kind of helps illustrate kind of our 5 basic components of what that hiring process looks like. Obviously there's an age range that we have to file applications with. There's a lot of frustration with this because obviously we have to be 21 years old to enforce alcohol-related offenses and laws. But that top age of 39 is kind of frustrating for us. But that's all dictated by the state of Indiana's Public Employee Retirement Fund. The 1977 fund is actually what it's referred to in state statute. So we have no control over what that age range could be. That law specifies that you cannot be at the age of 40 years or older. That actually used to be 36 years of age or older. And so they've bumped that up a little bit over the last couple of years to hopefully open up the door for some additional candidates. So all applicants have to be between 21 and 39 at the time that they make their application. They do have to be within that age range. We drive cars every day. So number 2, there's kind of a no-brainer in the sense of having a valid driver's license. We can't have officers out driving around without having a license or being suspended or anything like that.
Right. That's kind of self-explanatory.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things about the profession that have evolved over the years when it comes to formal education. So the next component there you see is requirement is a high school diploma or GED. We do not require a college degree to apply for our agency. Kind of a unique component to our profession is most of the time we hire somebody who we think has the character and the drive and the desire. And then once they get through a hiring process, we'll train you how to drive your car fast. We'll train you how to use firearms. We'll train you how to use de-escalation techniques. We'll train you on paperwork and all of that. But we're really trying to focus our hiring process on finding good quality of character in our applicants. And part of that leads into number 4, which is passing a very thorough background investigation. We could tell you firsthand the number of people that have applied for our department that have gone through a background, and they really testified about how thorough an Avon Police Department background is. I think that's becoming more and more important. So we do want everyone to understand that if you apply for our agency, you're going to go through a very thorough background. We're going to talk about previous employers, previous relationships, education, drug use, personal life, public life. And sometimes that can be a little unnerving for people. But the best way we can understand that we have good qualified people is to go through that process and make sure that they're a good decision maker based on strong moral foundation.
Right.
And so then once we get hired, that's when step 5 comes in. So once we feel like that applicant's got good quality of character, then we'll send you to the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy. Then after you get out of there, we'll send you through a full field training program here. And usually about the time you get hired on, you go through all that training, you hit that 1-year mark, and that's when we would move you to a first-class officer salary here with our agency. Because at that point, you're kind of trained up, you're ready to go, and you're really ready to go out there and start taking calls for service at an individual level, not necessarily with a training officer.
Right. Could you go into a little bit of detail about the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy?
Yeah,
Just, I mean, like how long of a process is that? I mean, you
yeah,
said that maybe that they sign up and they're a good judge of character, but maybe they don't have any kind of background in, police work. So
yeah.
what does the academy even really entail for them?
So the law enforcement academy is right here in Plainfield. So the really cool part is it's not somebody that has to really drive too far away if you live locally to get there. You do live on campus the time you're there. They are in the process of changing the curriculum. So by about the time somebody would find themselves applying for this process, if he or she would still need to go to the academy, there may be some changes in the number of weeks that you're there. It's usually about a 16 or 17-week course. They
Okay.
had to change a lot of things when they dealt with the pandemic and the COVID issues and closing down, working virtually. It's been quite a mess there, as everyone else has had to endure over the last couple of years. But it's a very paramilitary structure. You go into these facilities, you'll do a lot of physical agility testing and training. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
in fact, one of the components when we start our testing for this hiring process, the first thing that we do is the physical agility testing. And that test includes things like a mile-and-a-half run, vertical jump, sit-ups, push-ups, all of these different components that really kind of and make sure that we can measure anaerobic and aerobic health and strength. And
Mm-hmm.
so when you go to that academy, you have to kind of envision it to be almost kind of like a military boot camp.
That's what I was
I will
thinking.
tell you, over the years, the feedback has come back as they've softened their approach a little bit down there these days. So obviously, for our part of our process, the physical agility is a big component of that because the very first day at the academy, that's what you'll do. You'll go through the physical agility testing to make sure you're to the standards that you need to be in order to even attend the academy.
Mm-hmm.
And then during that time frame that you're there, there's several weeks where you're learning about criminal law. You're studying
Right.
state statutes, federal statutes. You're learning about de-escalation. You're learning about mental health awareness. You're learning about all the different tactics that you need to keep yourself safe, but also to make sure that you have a healthy career in the sense of litigation. Not walking through this career and feeling like you're opening yourself up to liabilities or being sued. The number one goal for the academy and our field training is officer safety. So the people that
Right.
are concerned because they've never fired a weapon, that's okay. In some sense, it's better to train somebody up that doesn't have any bad habits. So
Right.
a lot
Yeah.
of different things.
Cool. Okay. Well, so we've gone through the minimum qualifications, but I know, like everybody out there, they're probably wondering, what's the salary and,
Yes.
benefits and all of that. So I'm going to pull up
Yeah.
this other graphic that you
Okay.
sent me
Good.
as well, and hopefully you could share a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So this is a graphic that we have out right now on social media. This is actually a sponsored ad right now that's making its way through social media, and we've been very intentional in trying to target that age range demographic, right? That 21 to 39 year old that might be interested in this career. So
Hmm.
this here is a graphic that we have out right now, which really showcases the big questions people want to know. What's the pay?
Right.
We were very excited to move our pay range up a little bit from what it was in last year into 2022. So we've broken that, I call it the psychological barrier of a bigger salary of 60,000. So
Hmm.
the first year that you come in and you're with the organization, you have a probationary pay. So that first year, while you're not necessarily working independently, that probationary pay right now is around 55,000. And so after 1 year of service, you hit off that probationary year with the department, then you'll move to that $60,000 salary.
Hmm.
Um, and one thing that's kind of an exception to that is if you are a full-time officer anywhere else and you decide that you want to transfer over, and sometimes we call that a lateral process. If you were to transfer over to our department, two things come in play. Number one, you would have an abbreviated field training program. You'd go from about a 16-week program for field training to about a 5-week program. But the moment you're done with that field training program, you would actually move straight to our first class salary there at
Okay.
60,000 each year. So we've worked hard to kind of get that to be a more competitive salary over the years.
Hmm.
I remember when I came into the profession at 23 years old, I didn't really have much of a appreciation for this. But our second bullet point here is the family health insurance. A
Right.
lot of people are working past the time that they want to work because health insurance is such a hurdle for them financially.
Hmm.
And so it's been more important to us now than ever before, obviously with pandemic and COVID, all that fun stuff we've all been living through. But to have
Right.
a job that will provide coverage for your newborns, your
Hmm.
spouse, having that coverage is just something that you just kind of tend to take for granted for times. So uh,
Right.
we have a good policy that allows you to have family coverage on the very first day that you come in.
Oh,
You don't
that's great.
Yeah, you don't have to wait 30 days. You don't have to wait 60 days. You don't have to wait 90 days or nothing silly like that. And so obviously the third bullet point there is our 77 perf pension program, which we talked earlier about, was that age
Right.
range 21 to 39. And our last two components here are really some things that, to be honest, it drew me to this department years ago, was the fact that we have good equipment and technology. We just received word on Friday that we received over $30,000 towards our body camera grant.
I
And
saw that. That's
yeah,
exciting.
free money is cool, right? So
Right.
we like having that. So we actually have outfitted our department with body cams the very first of the year. So we've been operational with them for quite some time. Obviously, a lot of incidents have already happened. We've been very thankful to have that. And so Representative Greg Sturwald had championed what was called House Bill 1006, and that actually
Mhm.
reformed a lot of things and provided funding for law enforcement training. And part of that was for body cameras. And so we're really excited about that. Our in-car camera systems, our body camera systems, our radar systems, everything that we have in our vehicles is at the front edge of that technology. And we just feel strongly that when we empower our employees to have the best technology that they can do their jobs, they're more eager to do their jobs, and they're also
Right.
more efficient. And so
Yeah.
as we continue with this path of trying to hire people, we want to make sure that we're giving our employees every advantage that are already here, because we've invested a lot into our officers, and we hope they make that same investment back to us.
Right.
And
Definitely.
then the last thing is community support. This is something that I valued quite a bit when I first came here, but I think over the last couple of years, it's kind of been a point of contention with so many people. We don't live in a county where we have a prosecutor staff that's willing to dismiss crimes that are serious. We have a community that's very supportive of us. A lot of what we do is observed on social media.
Hmm.
We have big events like National Night Out Against Crime. We have our Citizens Police Academy. We have all these engagement programs with people, and we have companies, private donors, sponsors that just show their support in so many different ways. I think that's what separates us from some other agencies, but even in here in
Right.
Central Indiana, we're very fortunate to have a community of support. Our elected officials, in my 8 years of being in administration, I honestly can't think of one time where we even had one vote from a council member opposing the initiatives that we've put out, whether it was community outreach, whether it was advanced training, hiring staff, wage increases, trying to be more competitive. So when you pay attention to the fact that you have that support from your residents to your elected officials, that means a lot to us. It makes your daily job a little less stressful, and I'm sure a lot of other agencies here in Hendricks County feel the same way.
Right. And especially right now, I feel like that's a pretty big piece that is special about the Avon Police Department of,
Yeah.
just being supported by the community.
Yeah, thank you for that. And it's something we work very hard at, and we understand that part of being supported. We always hear the phrase, "Oh, I back the blue," and that's awesome. But what are we doing as the blue to back our community? And that's the
Hmm.
things that we have to show, goodwill to our community, and we do that by being professional. We do that by being patient. We do that by employing our different training techniques and de-escalation. We share some funny stories that happen every once in a while on social media to kind of keep things lighthearted.
Hmm.
We're also very compassionate to those the worst of the worst situations where people need to know that we're being professional and want to help families get through difficult times. So
Right. So if somebody's watching this video, either live or, they're going to catch the replay, the QR code that's here on the graphic, and if they might even see some of your other graphics that you've shared on social media, they can
yeah,
scan that. And then what's that going to take them to?
yeah. So that QR code there on the left side of this graphic that you're looking at now, if it's not popping up some way on the not clear enough on this video, you can go to our social media page and you'll see this exact graphic, and it's high resolution as well. If you scan that, you take a cell phone and just hold it up there to that QR code. Your cell phone is smart enough to say, "Hey, this is a link. Do you want to go to that link?" So if you tell your phone yes, it will take you to a Microsoft Forms that we've got set up. And
Okay.
so we worked closely with our communications coordinator here, Jared Wade. And so he provides that QR code, which now will go take you into our new website and our new system here at the town of Avon. So when you click on that link, it will offer you another link that you can read through all of the details. It'll give you some more details about our benefit package. It will give you more details about what to expect when you show up for testing on May 7th. It will also give you some more details about the interview phase, which is a couple of weeks after May 7th. So it really gives you a very clear expectation of what our hiring process looks like.
Hmm.
And so from there, there's just I think it's a 3-sheet form that you fill out. We'll ask for your date of birth. We're going to ask for your home address. We're going to ask for an emergency contact. We're going to ask some basic information, but it takes you less than 4 to 5 minutes to fill this out. And we found over the years that some agencies ask people to bring in a completed application, which is very time intensive. And that can be frustrating if you don't make it past a physical agility test or you don't make it past a written exam. And so we feel like this pre-application process is more inviting. It's much easier to fill out. And then later in the process, we would offer you the full application.
Okay. So basically they can scan, they fill out the application you were talking about, the 3 to 4 minutes. And then does everybody that fills that out get to show up at the May 7th testing? And from there, then it's kind of screened out. Okay.
Exactly. So what will happen on the morning of May 7th, we'll meet at the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy, and we'll run through all the physical agility testing. People that were to pass all of those phases would then take our written exam that afternoon. Anybody that was not successful in passing those different components of that exam would be excused from the process at that time.
Okay.
We're usually able to get through our physical agility by 8 o'clock. I'm sorry, we'll start at 8 o'clock in the morning. We're usually done by 11 o'clock that morning. And then usually come back for the written exam around 12:30. And you can plan on being done for the day around 4:30 and knocking out 2 big components of our hiring process on one Saturday alone.
Right. Okay. Well, thanks for all of that information, and good luck in hopefully finding these spots and filling your department with some good character. And I'm looking forward to hearing all about it.
Awesome. Thanks, Karen. I appreciate your time.
Yes. Well, thanks for joining. And I think we're scheduled for another month or two. There's another program that we're going to talk about later, so I look forward to that segment as well.
I'll be here.
All right. Thanks so much.
All right. Thanks, Karen.
See ya.
Bye-bye.